Okay, we start at the karate chop point under the baseline of the pinky, tapping the side of the hand there. Even though I'm not as good at this food and water thing as I'd like to be, I accept where I am in a journey, and I love myself. I love myself enough to keep showing up for this. Even though I don't have food and water habits down the way I want them. Right now, I deeply love and completely accept myself. Even though good eating habits and hydration eludes me or seems to be on and off for me, I am willing to show up for myself. I love myself and I accept myself as I am. Let's go to the crown. This healthy food and hydration stuff. Sometimes it's annoyingly hard. Inner eyebrow. I can almost feel victimized by how hard it feels to me to manage all that. Outer eye. I'm so often disappointed in myself. Upper cheekbone under the eye. I often set things up in a way that feels bad to me, like rules or diets, ideas of how to structure things that then feel too hard. Under the nose. There are things I object to about my body that are related. Chin point between bottom lip and chin. Sometimes I feel bad about my body chronically on an ongoing basis. Under the clavicle round. Sometimes I make myself feel bad by how I eat. It could be the amount I eat, the food choices I make that feel bad in the moment or later. Things I object to philosophically. So then I just feel bad about myself just for eating that at all or doing the thing I think is not a good habit at all. Side of the ribs. or bra strap point, but where a hand's width from under the base, bottom of the armpit. Sometimes I just forget about eating right or eating well or eating. And sometimes I think of it too often and it feels almost obsessive. Now we go to the crown and we're going to reach for better feeling thoughts. I'd really like to be gentler and kinder in my approach to food and water. Inner eyebrow. I do know this is tricky stuff for a lot of human beings. Side of the eye. Right now, I welcome myself to the human race. I don't need to make myself wrong or bad for having a typical struggle. Under the eye. I actually know some things that feel better or worse. I'd like it to be simpler to implement what feels good. Under the nose. I'd like it to be easier to move away from what feels bad. Chin point. But when I make myself wrong and bad, or if my rules get too rigid, or if I think I'm supposed to get it right or be perfect, that just brings out my inner rebel. Under the clavicle round. I'd like to soften some resistance I have against good habits. A resistance to doing what I know actually feels better. I invite you to be conscious of your breath whenever you're not talking and just tapping. Side of the ribs. I like noticing that it's okay to be hungry, that it's even appropriate, good, right, to be hungry sometimes. Crown point. I know that's part of the contrast. To allow emptiness, hunger, feeling ready for food. Inner eyebrow. Versus being full, being satisfied. Feeling that I've taken care of myself by eating. Side of the eye. I really like it when I don't eat ravenously. It feels good when I slow down, when I chew well. Under the eye. I'd like to chew more. I'd like to make it an ongoing project to notice it's really actually not time to swallow yet. Under the nose. I want food to be more fun. I want it to be delicious more often. I want to really like the things I eat. Chin point. There's something so lovely about savoring, tasting, enjoying the deliciousness, treating myself to a nice eating experience. Under the clavicle round. I love offering delicious food to others. I want to treat myself more like I treat them. Side of the ribs. It's really the dream when I marry together nutrition and deliciousness. Round point. It feels amazing to know this food is both good for me and good. Inner eyebrow. I like it when I'm willing to take time to plan food, prepare food, do some setup for future easier cooking. Side of the eye. I know I can get in trouble with things like that too. If I make it a have to, or feel like I'm not doing a good job because I'm not prepping enough, here comes my inner rebel again. Under the eye. I like it when I feel lighter. I like it when cooking is a fun, light, peaceful event. Under the nose. It's so much fun to play lovely music and actually have a presence practice in the cooking. Chin point. So I'm actually here and willing to be here for this. I'm in my body. I feel my grounding. Under the clavicle round. I'm moving more slowly. I'm enjoying colors, textures. I feel the knife cutting through things. I love my cutting board. Side of the ribs. I even like when there are time factors and I need to speed up, get it just right, but in a fun way, not an oppressive way. Round point. I really like it when I'm willing to show up for the less glamorous tasks of life. Inner eyebrow. I like when I'm willing to take care of myself by completing some rote tasks. Side of the eye. Now, please tailor this one to whatever your experience has been, but you might say something like, I was so willing to do that for my babies, or I've done that again and again for my students or my cats or whatever. Just drop in with that. Under the eye. I am the one who's responsible for my own well-being. Under the nose. I've evolved enough to know that self-care is not selfish. You might say, or I'm understanding that better and better, or you might say, I'm really opening to that idea, whatever's true for you, where you are in your journey. Chin point. I like knowing that sometimes we eat when we're really thirsty. It feels good, or it could feel good to reach for water. At times, I now reach for food. Under the clavicle round. It feels good to drink water sometimes when my stomach is empty. Knowing that it moves freely through my system, cleansing everything. Side of the ribs. I like knowing that it takes a certain amount of water to get to every last cell in the body. For fluid exchange, for clean water coming in as toxins move out. Round point. I love the idea of cleansing my own body. I like letting my digestive system have a rest between meals. Inner eyebrow. It could feel good to notice what's up when I reach for food. Now say as much or as little of what follows as feels right to you. We'll move to the side of the eye to do this. Maybe I'm bored. Maybe something got hard or frustrating in my work and I'm soothing that with food. Maybe there's an emotion going on that wants my attention. Under the eye. All of that awareness is good information to have. Nothing to judge, all normal human stuff. Under the nose, but stuff to be with in presence. To turn a kind gaze toward. To soothe in healthier ways. Or meet or respond to differently. Chin point. Sometimes what I really need is to move. Sometimes I need a change of environment, which could mean just step outside for a moment. Look up, look out, breathe fresh air. See a squirrel playing. Notice colors in the sky. Under the clavicle round. Sometimes eating constitutes fake self-care. I'm trying to comfort myself or soothe a frustration or irritation or fill up some other kind of emptiness. That's okay. Side of the ribs. But what I really want is to get better and better at real self-care. More presence with whatever's up for me. In presence, I can reach for the tactic that seems right for this moment. Or just more on point, kinder. We'll finish with the crown. I'd like to be more present and conscious in my eating choices, both in terms of content and when and how I eat. I'd like to be more conscious and present about my water choices, especially just being willing to drink when I think of it, or experimenting with drinking first when I have the impulse to eat and pausing. I'd like to get more experimental in the kitchen and bring presence to that whole experience. I'd like to pay more attention to what I'm doing well and what feels good. And pay a lot less attention to what I fault myself for or think I'm getting wrong. I'm willing to experiment. I'm willing to play with presence. I'm willing to keep showing up for myself. And I allow this whole thing to be a lighter and more fun project. Now let's drop our hands down, close our eyes. I like to cup one hand inside the other, palms up. Relax the body, ground it, and just feel. Feel the breath, feel the reverberations of the tapping, feel where you are emotionally, feel whether the mind feels clearer and calmer. EFT affects body, heart, and head, all three centers of intelligence. Notice how you feel after an EFT session and come back to it. You could do really quick ones that just reach for a few reminders. Or to forgive yourself if you think you went off track and allow yourself to let that go to get back on track. Or just to come back to the moment. What if there's no track? What if there's just presence with whatever is right now and what I'm choosing right now and how I'm feeling it right now and what I'd like to do next or right now that's kinder. Just bring yourself back gently when you're ready.